Hello and welcome to class. Um, Today I'm going to be talking on photo composition techniques, and that is the module 5 um, for the course photography. Yes, remember that we've been doing this for some time now. We've already had module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, talking about photography equipment, introduction to photography, do's and don'ts in photography. And so here today we're gonna have module 5. All right, so let's get right straight into it. Photo composition technique aims to show us rule of thirds, leading lines, framing, symmetry and patterns, depth and layers, negative space, balance and composition, point of view, that's in angles, color and contrast, and of course common mistakes. Yes, so stuff, what do we intend to achieve from this? Composition is the artistic arrangement of elements within a photograph, and this module introduces key principles such as the rule of thirds, leading lines, balance, symmetry, and depth. You will learn how to position subjects and structure your frame in a way that enhances visual appeal and storytelling. Okay, so basically, okay, so this rule of thirds is a photography composition guideline that divides an image into 9 equal parts with 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines. So to create a balanced and visually appealing photo, you place the main subject along these lines or at one of the 4 intersection points. What this technique does basically is that it helps create more engaging compositions by avoiding a centered subject. And most modern cameras and phones have a grid overlay to help you apply it. So you divide the frame into a 3x3 grid, and then you place the key subjects along the grid lines. So like I said, how do you apply it? You enable the grid, you position your subjects, you place the horizon, you use intersection for focus, and then you edit. So that's it about for rule of thirds. So the next thing I want to talk about is leading lines. Yeah. So when we talk about leading lines, what does this do? It's like a compositional technique where lines within a photo are used to guide the viewer's eyes. All right. So the natural lines to guide the viewer's eyes towards a specific subject or focal point. Now, these lines can actually be natural, like a tree line, or like a river, and it can also be man-made, like a road or a fence, and it could be horizontal, it could be vertical, it could be diagonal. All right, so just by creating a visual part, these leading lines would help you add depth, movement, and focus to an image. All right, so examples: roads, bridges, fences, and pathways. So how do you use these leading lines? You look for lines, you position the lines, you experiment with angles, you create depth and movement, and then you can consider the different types of line, and then you add to the story. Basically, like it's framing. All right, so how do you frame? You use objects. You use objects to frame the subject. Okay, so I can describe framing like also like a compositional technique that uses elements of the scene. It uses elements of the scene to create a frame around the main subject, so it draws the viewer's eye to it, and it adds depth and context. So how do you achieve this? You place the subject within natural elements like doorways, windows, tree branches, or even through the strategic use of light and shadow. Effective framing does not only guide focus, it also enhances the image aesthetic appeal, and it can create a sense of storytelling or mystery. Yeah, so it adds depth and let's talk about symmetry and patterns. So basically, this symmetry helps to create harmony and order. Yeah, it creates visually harmonious and captivating images by using repetition and balance to guide the viewer's eyes. So patterns add rhythm and repetition. Is useful in architecture. You see a lot of that, and design photography. Okay, so to use them, you have to find repeating elements. All right, like in nature or reflections. So you compose your shots to emphasize this order. You can achieve it by centering your subject, using leading lines, or even intentionally breaking a pattern with a single contrasting element or for a dynamic effort. All right. So how do you find symmetry and patterns? You look for natural symmetry. You spot architectural symmetry. You use reflections, and then you find man-made patterns. Let's talk about depth, and layers. So what do I mean by depth and layers in photography? Well, how do you achieve this? You use foreground, you use middle ground, and use background. All right. It's basically it's also a technique, yeah, and it used to create like a sense of how do I put this? Like a sense of three-dimensionality, yeah. Okay, so basically in a two-dimensional image, you place the subjects at different distances from the camera. All right, like I said earlier, in the foreground, middle ground, and background. And this method adds complexity. It guides the viewer's eye through the scene, and it makes it more immersive and visually engaging. All right. So how do you establish it? You create multiple planes. You use foreground elements. You incorporate leading lines. You control the depth of field, and you use lighting strategically. You also have negative space. All right. What does negative space mean in photography? Well, it's just a technique where the empty or unoccupied areas around a subject are used to emphasize and draw attention to the main subject. So your negative space emphasizes simplicity and makes the subject stand out. Okay, so it involves using large areas of blank space like a vast sky or a plain wall to make the subject pop by reducing distractions and adding a sense of scale, mode, or balance to the composition. How does it work? It directs the eye, emphasizes the subject, like I said, creates mode, and of course, I've talked about balance and composition a little. That's your visual balance between elements. Symmetrical or asymmetrical balance works depending point of view that you should note, or how do you get them. Okay, so experiment with eye angle, yeah, eye with height and angle. Sorry, experiment with height and angle. So if you have a low angle, you have a powerful subject. Some people call this POV, and if you have a high angle, it's vulnerability or overview. So POV again is a technique of positioning the camera at a specific physical location to capture a scene, and it influences how the viewer would perceive it. All right, so it can involve shooting from unique angles like high above or low on the ground to create specific emotional response or sense of depth, and it can even mean showing what a subject is looking at. Color and contrast. You use contrasting colors to highlight subjects, improve mood and tones. Yeah. So what are the common mistakes that people can make? Don't have cluttered backgrounds, centering subjects unnecessarily, ignoring distractions. In summary, basically what we're saying is that composition improves technique for storytelling and clarity. Then simple adjustments can elevate image quality. Practice helps internalize composition rules. Yeah, technique that you can have in photography, because after studying this module now, you will be able to create more compelling and visually balanced images. And then your improvised composition skills, just like I highlighted earlier, it will help you communicate your ideas more effectively through photography. I hope this has been very helpful and resourceful. I'll see you again in a moment.